Welcome to ElectoramaWeekly. Today it's just Carlo and me, and we're talking about electowiki and other electoral reform infrastructure. I'm Rob Lanfear, founder of the Election Methods mailing list, co-founder of electowiki.org, and a board member of the Equal Vote Coalition, though I'm not speaking in any official capacity today. And I'm joined by Carlo Estefano.
Hello, everyone. I'm Carlo. I am a student at Sam Houston State University. I got to make sure I say that right. I love all types of electoral reform stuff. I love approval voting, star voting, Condorcet, and its many names. You'll find me on YouTube under Carlo Estefano, and that's me.
Cool. And since I'm a subject matter expert on electowiki, arguably, Carlo is interviewing me. So take it away, Carlo.
Yeah, I'm aware that the mailing list began before electowiki.
Yep.
I kind of want to ask about that transition. What was that like, sort of building that up?
Okay, sure. So I'll probably give you way more history than you asked for, but basically the election methods mailing list started off as a spin-off of a different mailing list that no longer exists. And in early 1996. And at that time, there weren't very many resources on the internet about learning about election methods mailing or election methods at all. And so, we were trying to, and Wikipedia did not exist. So we didn't have wikis existed, but which I found out later, but Wikipedia did not exist. And so we would argue about what should go up on various people's websites.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a website, most people did not. And so people wanted to vote on what went on my website, and that was not going to pan out. Because I want to put what I want to put on my website. So that went on. So there was discussions about whether we should have an FAQ for election methods, and people wanted to vote on the FAQ that would be published for that. And people did do votes on that kind of thing, but there was never really a consensus around a single FAQ. Frequently asked questions list. So fast forward a few years, electowiki gets started. I start pushing people to, or excuse me, fast forward a few years to 2001, okay? Wikipedia gets started. I start pushing electoral reform folks to Wikipedia. I say, hey, you should put more stuff on Wikipedia. And at the time, that was welcomed because nobody knew about Wikipedia. And so I was pushing people towards Wikipedia. Things were getting good on, like, articles about election methods incrementally approved. They were not great articles, but they were good-ish articles on Wikipedia. And I was, and I was doing my day job. I was focused on many other things. And there came a point where Dan Kishit, who was a super long time Wikipedia editor, pushed me. It's like, you need to have your own instance. You need to have your own wiki for electoral reform stuff, because y'all are overwhelming Wikipedia with election methods stuff. And I'll set it up for you. And so I gave Dan the ability to set up electowiki on electorama.com. And wiki.electorama.com was born, I want to say, in January of 2005.
I'd love to insert myself here real quick. What I'm hearing from you is that and many things are born out of necessity, but this does seem like genuinely like it was really born out of like a real necessity from the community. Because like my I guess just like my intuition was just like you had a really like I guess you could say it wasn't as much of like, oh, if we don't do this, we just actually don't have anywhere to allocate this information that we are trying to put on different websites. So like there was like a very active, like real material need in this community, and you're in the electoral reform community to have this kind of wiki thing, and you were able to provide that, is what I'm hearing.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So right in 2005, what ended up happening was my policy was any jargon that you spew on the mailing list, you have to explain on electowiki.
I like
And
that.
and like and folks would because so many people would were doling out impenetrable jargon on the election methods mailing list. And like I'm trying to moderate the mailing list, and I had no idea what people were talking about.
Could you give us some examples,
Oh
if
god,
possible?
it was 20 years ago. It was over 20 years ago. I cannot remember which examples they would be, but generally speaking, like the various forms of monotonicity, because like Woodall's got like 7 forms, like those kind of like really esoteric details, even just like what the word monotonicity means in the context of election methods, because most people don't know what the word monotonicity means, period. The people that do don't necessarily know what it means when talking about election methods.
Is it used in typically in like a economics form, or
Monotonicity is a math concept.
okay, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, like, and I'm the right, like we don't have Taylor here, so like I would let Taylor like I would defer to Taylor on that one. But yeah, like I think monotonicity is yeah, I'm the absolute wrong person to explain the mathematical concept of monotonicity, but there's a Wikipedia article about it. And there's an electowiki article about it. Now, the electowiki
Yeah.
article is going to be about monotonicity as applied to election methods.
Mhm.
And that's fine. And that's as it should be.
Yeah. So would you say that while building the site, because you kind of mentioned that it started for one purpose, which is like, okay, this is where we're going to put all the election stuff, and then Wikipedia came and you were like, hey, start putting it on Wikipedia. Um, then they told you, hey, this is actually overwhelming us. Create your own, essentially.
Yep.
That's so far the story that that you're telling me. Have you had any like specific direction changes over the years from that point with electowiki? Whether it's, I guess like the coding or visual aesthetics, or even like what the purpose of it was for, like, did it shift in any way? Did it, what if any of those you'd find like pretty remarkable?
Um, well, we've struggled with the relationship with Wikipedia. So in the beginning, there was nothing on electowiki, and therefore copying whole articles from Wikipedia was considered an acceptable thing to do. And I did not object to that because the license was compatible, and therefore, and that's the whole idea behind free content, is being able to do that sort of copying without worrying. And license was compatible, and we were able to figure out how to link back to Wikipedia to make sure that credit was given where credit was due. So that worked out fairly well. Over time, I figured out the best way to copy things from Wikipedia. So the challenge with copying things from Wikipedia is that we only copy a snapshot from Wikipedia. And of course, Wikipedia has evolved and changed over the past 25 plus years, right? So, and gets way more traffic than electowiki does. And therefore, people care more about the articles on Wikipedia than much more about them than they do about the articles on electowiki. And so what would happen is old Wikipedia articles that had been copied over were basically left to wither on electowiki. And so there's a lot of content on still a lot of content on electowiki that was like stuff that was copied over from Wikipedia in 2006 or 2007, like that, like is old. That was never changed. And so that bit is problematic. I mean, in terms of the under the hood stuff, there's a lot of Wikipedia articles are complicated beasts because most Wikipedia articles rely on templates to give them the extra bits of like info boxes and navigation templates and all of that stuff are all based on Wikipedia, based on the site software. So the site software that's used by Wikipedia and by electowiki is called MediaWiki. And MediaWiki has these complicated templates that are, I was partly responsible for making them both faster and even more complicated, because it used to be that like MediaWiki templates were just wiki text. So the same text that you use in an article is the stuff that you would use in a template. And so a template is just stuff that was included from other things. The super challenging thing about that was it accidentally became a programming language. So
it accidentally became a programming language. That's interesting.
So yeah, this is some nerdy computer stuff, but what people talk about, it's surprisingly easy to create what's called a Turing machine, and it accidentally create a Turing machine. And what a Turing machine is like the simplest form of a computer. And there's only a few elements of a language that you need to turn it into a Turing complete language. And I'm oversimplifying so much, but the suspicion is that wiki text, as used on MediaWiki and on Wikipedia, is Turing complete because of the if statements that were added and the ability to do recursion and so on, made it so that templates got super duper complicated. So the thing, because I worked at Wikimedia Foundation, the folks that maintain the wikipedia.org website. And the one of the initiatives that we embarked on when I was working there was the we added the ability to use a programming language called Lua for templates instead of just using wiki text. And that made them much faster, but that added a new level of complexity, because instead of having something that we are pretty sure could approximate a programming language, we didn't remove that. We just added a true programming language underneath that. And so this tangent was all about saying that, like, those templates are complicated monsters, and sometimes we need to copy templates, whole templates over from Wikipedia, or we need to create new simplified versions of them on electowiki.
Yeah.
But regardless, like, that's one of the sort of behind the scenes things that became way more complicated about Wikipedia, or excuse me, about electowiki.
Yeah. I guess from there, I want to ask then, what do you think is kind of the future of electowiki? What do you see looking forward for the site? What have you been interested recently with the site? Where do you plan on taking it? I guess into the future as it further builds and grows with more and more information.
I'm feeling pretty good about where it is right now. There are times where I've been like kind of depressed that I've had to maintain this, but like over time, it's like there's we have enough of an editing community that knows what they're talking about, that can come in and tweak things. And I mean, really, like, I don't have grand ambitions about like making electowiki bigger than Wikipedia or anything crazy like that. Like, I'm just I suppose better integration with Wikipedia. At some point, I would love to integrate electowiki with one of the other sister projects to Wikipedia, which is Wikidata. I would love to incorporate Wikidata into or rather incorporate electowiki links into Wikidata, so that when folks find articles via Wikidata, when they find Wikipedia articles via Wikidata, they can also find electowiki articles via Wikidata.
Interesting. Would the result of that just be that you'd be able to get more traffic and more clarity on stuff that might have good information on electowiki? How do I phrase that? Basically, like, what do you think that would just be good for getting more discovery?
Yeah, I think that'd be the exact reason to do it, is because for discoverability, right? Because it's like we're not trying to drive traffic for traffic's sake. The reason why people put stuff on electowiki is because they want it to be found, right? They want, and so in service of like letting the content from the people who put things on electowiki be found, I would love to make it so that there's those two-way links between Wikipedia articles and electowiki articles. That would be super cool.
Yeah, I think that would be I think that honestly is, yeah, a pretty great idea. Yeah, I had no idea that there was that much going on behind the scenes when it comes to all this stuff. I mean, like, there's so much that I could probably like try to predict about it, but you're actually like in the tangible real world when it comes to it. So it's always great getting more information about that. And especially sort of the transitionary period of starting with the mailing list and going on to build this thing that a lot of us in this space are really grateful for and rely on for a lot of good information. And I consider myself a part of that crowd. So yeah, good stuff.
I'm glad it's working for you. Well, let me turn it around and just ask you, how did you discover electowiki, and what do you still rely on electowiki for?
Oh, that's a good one. I think I discovered electowiki. Either it was referenced somewhere in the equal vote page, or I saw it was one of the first links that I saw when I looked up star voting myself. And that's where I got all of the information. And I was learning about like pass fail criteria, and I was learning about like, oh, what later no harm. And I went down the rabbit hole essentially. Now what I'm using it for, I've been looking over um I've been looking over the ranked robin page, I've been looking over the Smith score page, and I've been looking over the score cascading vote page. Specifically that one, the last one. I'm right now trying to sort of build an idea of how I'd want to edit it. I probably would at least try to see if eventually I could get the creator of that voting method to look it over just to make sure everything's good and somewhat in a format that they could accept. And you know, it's a wiki, so they could do it themselves. They could fix it themselves if they wanted to as well. But yeah, that's kind of where like that's kind of where it started for me. And you know, it was very intuitive. It was a very intuitive program to go through and sort of dive deep into everything. And that's kind of where I'm with it now.
Okay, cool. Thanks for asking all the great questions, Carlo. And so that's it for this week. You can find electowiki at electowiki.org, and you can find the show notes for this episode on electowiki.org. And with that, I'm Rob Lanfear.
I'm Carlo Estefano.
And thanks for joining us.